Scotland, a place where unbelievable beauty conceals unfathomable mystery. Deep inside the Unexplained Happenings unit, Scot Squad Squire and McGill investigate real Scotch mysteries and gen up true crimes. They're normalising the paranormal and transforming the inexplicable to splicable in Scotland. Unsolved.
Today we're looking into the Gorbals Vampire. In 1954, hundreds of school children swarmed the Glasgow necropolis armed with stakes, knives, basically every sharp object that they could get their hands on.
These hysterical wee radges were out to revenge two young boys.
Two young boys who had supposedly been devoured by a real-life vampire.
But some locals suspect that if the story is true, it's more likely to be wee Jenny with the iron teeth. She's basically a wee granny that roams about Glasgow Green, grabbing people and dragging them back to her lair with big metal jaws.
We better be getting paid overtime if this turns into two cases. One of the biggest challenges on this investigation was that most of the eyewitnesses were children. Now, sometimes that can work in our favour, but let's face it, sometimes kids can be totally at it.
I just hope that my child doesn't turn out to be a lying wee arsehole.
That's not going to happen.
No.
McGill, how long do you think you're going to be off maternity leave this time?
Probably 6 months, because I can't be bothered with them.
It's murder. I'll end up getting that Sandra one again. She's garbage and her patter's...
I mean, any luck, maybe Sandra will get pregnant and she'll end up on maternity leave.
McGill, who's humping Sandra?
Nobody's humping Sandra. When we investigate the locations of historical incidents, the biggest challenge we face is trying to imagine that place in the past when the incident took place. For example, Glasgow Green in the 1950s.
I mean, obviously, Glasgow Green in the 1950s would be probably a much nicer place than it is now. Big, friendly park. Beautiful washings. Exactly. People playing games and all that. Fast forward to now. The Glasgow Green of today, I mean, it's just basically a place to have a festival for music and stuff. Yeah, it's just full of West End. So there's two things going on here, really, McGill. You've got the whole vampire thing, and you've got Jenny with the iron teeth. I think Jenny with the iron teeth is just a case of bad dentistry and a heavy-set jaw, probably just taking too many. And somebody's went like that. Eckies. Eckies. That's actually because it's that kind of man. I think that's what... I don't know if they had eckies in the 50s. I'll need to ask my gran. Could you check that? Because she would have probably took them. What else did they do then? So Elvis and all that, wasn't it? Elvis daft, weren't they? Check he was taking the eckies. I was going to say, he's like that, isn't he, when he's singing? Could have been. I don't think he was mad for the eckies, he was mad for the hamburgers. After a quick call to Granny McGill, both Class A's and burgers were ruled out.
So our attention turned to 1950s literature.
In 1955, there was an American comic book series called Dark Mysteries. Issue 15, guess what it was called? What? The Vampire with the Iron Teeth. I mean, come on, that's got to be related.
Do you think it's a case of a bit of a...
copycat thing? Aye, of course, the kids have been reading that and went, let's go and reenact that, surely.
But they do it with all kinds of popular culture, because you know 50 Shades of Grey.
Aye.
Folk were all doing that, building bedrooms in their house and all that.
That's right.
Because you know what happened to Sandra.
Oh, I know what happened to Sandra, all right.
Flogging, she was up.
The popularity of the American comic book was the case-breaking clue. So basically, it was a case of mass hysteria and copycat behaviour. When investigating a historical case like this one, then we need to do our research and go back to what the cultural context was at the time. So, for example, what films were out, what books people were reading, you know, what the locals were into at that time. It really helps.
Would it help to know probably what video games they were playing?
No, they weren't playing any video games because they weren't out then.
What do you mean?
Well, because it was the 1950s.
Did they know the Sega Mega Drive?
No.
It's a shame.
From creepy copycats to freaky actual cats.
Scotland is full of big cat sightings. The most recent of these is what we're currently investigating.
Yes, in October 2018, a large wild cat was spotted by the residents of East Ayrshire.
Similar sightings have been recorded by locals over the years in areas like Banff and Helensburgh.
We could be seeing a rise of a danger even greater than the current #1 threat to Scots.
Too much food. Right, McGill, come on. What theories have you come up with?
Could it have been a big fat guy in a cat costume?
An actual guy?
Just like bamming folk up, you know, you get some zoomers, do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't see why not. Folk dress up at Halloween, don't they? I seen a thing but once, I don't know if it was a sexual thing or not, but it was a thing in the iPlayer, and it was a guy that dressed up as a dog and he wanted to be treated as a dog. Actually, I think that was sexual.
Wouldn't there be a trail of like really big...
If it was a big cat?
If it was a big cat, so like... Like
that bit in Jurassic Park when you see the big pile of poo and then they know that there's the kind of dinosaurs. They'd be big though, would they know if it was that size?
It'd be massive.
My pal had a golden retriever and you want to see the size of the logs that came out of that thing, by the way.
See, I think we start...
We also had to think of a motive.
Who could we link to a lynx?
What about this? I was thinking, think about all the gangsters that we know. They could be maybe like out petting each other with like really cool big cats and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, mind that time went to the flats and one of the guys had a puma.
Yeah. Was he not trying to breed the puma with a staffy?
Oh, something totally mental like that, wasn't it?
I think look at old cases as well, because do you not remember we did a case at Blair Drum Safari Park where the guy was bumping the monkeys?
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember? And he was selling them up postal? 500 quid he was getting.
Was he?
Aye.
Well, if they can get monkeys, they can get big cats, but...
Can get anything, but it's the cat's black, I take it, isn't it? So we're looking for something like a puma or a panda that's been coloured in or something.
Well, look, remember somebody thought it was striped as well. I mean, it could be
A zebra.
This is what we call a live case. It's changing all the time.
Yeah, at the moment the case is unsolved, but don't get us wrong, it's currently on the way to being solved and we will get this cat.
Oh yeah, and if it gets violent, then
we are going to put it away for life.
All 9 of them.
This show must go on to strange goings-on in show business.
Today we are looking at the haunting of His Majesty's Theatre in Aberdeen. Allegedly, during the war years, a stagehand was involved in a gruesome accident that actually left him headless.
And from that point on, allegedly there was stories of paranormal happenings up until about 1982 when the theatre had a refurbishment and then all the ghostly occurrences stopped.
People think that you need to get in a priest for these kind of things, but actually a painting decorator's just as good.
Yeah, but hold your horses. If you fast forward to the mid-2000s, the theatre got another renovation, and then guess who was back?
Who?
Jake.
Who's Jake?
Jake's the name of the ghost. Did I forget to say that bit?
Yeah, you did say at the top. Well, my first question would be, is he called Jake because his name is Jake, or is he called Jake because he's an actual Jake? When investigating something like this, especially in the paranormal world, you've got to really get into the mindset of what you're investigating. So we've been trying to get into the mindset of the ghost.
Jake itself, what's Jake thinking about? Why is he not happy? Why is he returned?
Apparently, he was spotted more once HMT opened a cafe.
Oh, that's right.
So could it be food that's brought back?
Somebody'd sent down the menu, and I mean, I've had a good swifty through it, and it's pretty good. You get like really good paninis and all that, soup and sandwich and all that for about $2.50.
And their TripAdvisor reviews are through the roof, so they're clearly making cracks grand. One of the things that we discovered is that people have actually been hearing high heel noises, so there's a possibility that Jake wore high heels.
Yeah, there's been a few reports of that, and that wasn't reported before.
No.
So do you think there's something in the fact that maybe now, in modern day, it's decided to wear heels?
Also in the sense that like he'd have been repressed in his day, and now he can wear heels now if he wants.
I think that's totally
I think
brilliant,
that's
isn't
amazing.
It? Well, if he can do that anyway, he can do it in the theatre, can't he?
There's a big question mark over the issue whether ghosts can actually interact with physical objects. I mean, there's loads of examples. Can they
shut doors? Can they lift things up? Move cups? Hang up towels?
I always think they can walk through doors and walk through walls. Why don't they fall through the floor? Another theory that I think's absolutely plausible, Jake the Ghost is a cover for people.
People in the building? Like...
Yeah, because it's dead easy to go, oh, that's what missing. Oh, it wasn't me, it was Jake the Ghost.
Oh, maybe it could be. Because a lot of people have said, oh, don't worry, that's what's missing, because Jake the Ghost will put it back the next day.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the stuff turns up and sometimes it doesn't.
And think of the people that walk through that building. You're talking actors, because you know what it's like. Actors, they audition for things, don't they?
Aye.
So, if you've got an audition for Cats or something, she's got the music notes to memory in her bag. You're bumping that.
You're taking it.
Putting it back.
Listen, you're onto something here. So the conclusion of this case was that there's no such thing as Jake the Ghost. This building is full of actors who are liars. Really good liars though, but it's our job to spot liars, and that's what we put this down to, that they've made it up about Jake.
Totally. And they're paid liars, so they're not doing it for nothing.
Don't believe a word they say.
Nah.